Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're just going to be talking about should we move mountains. I'm going to try to make it as quick as possible, but hopefully leaving the same impact on you as it had on me. Okay, first of all, so I was reading a book and it's kind of stirring my faith gift and it's kind of stirring my prophetic gift. And I was reading it last night and I started to really ponder over that scripture where Jesus says, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you could say to that mountain, move, and it would be moved, right? I've heard that before, many times. I've read it, but the past couple of years it really does impact me more than it ever has because I've really seen miracles. I've seen signs. I've seen wonders. I've learned of a God that is way more close to us and near to us and more powerful than I ever thought that he was or believed that he was, okay? So it's more impacting to me now. As I believe miracles can be done. So I wonder, can we move a mountain? And so I had to put my book down and I thought, actually, Lord, I'm kind of wondering, should we move mountains? Like, I know your word says that I could talk to that mountain and tell it to move and it would move, but what if you wanted that mountain there? What if I got in your way? What if I was messing up something that you had going, right? I mean, for example, I wouldn't want my 4-year-old to have this gift, right? Like, I wouldn't want to come home and find that she had, rearranged the furniture in my house, right? Like, she could just lift up a couch with her mind or say, speak to the couch to be moved and it would be moved. I mean, I don't think I'd want her to have that gift because she'd be getting in my way, right? Of where I want the couch. I can hear probably my 10-year-old, my 11-year-old telling her, no, put that back. Mom wants it there, so maybe I could trust my 10-year-old or my 11-year-old with this. But I'm not so sure that I would just want my kids to have this gift and move, a mountain. Like, seriously, no, I want the couch there, leave it alone. But I just don't want to mess up anything God has going. And sometimes he's doing things for a purpose, right? Like, maybe a person is completely crippled and he's allowed that season into their life so that he can use it for something good, right? And so I'm like, who am I to step in and try to heal this person? And so, how am I going to know if I'm getting in your way or not? I don't want to just assume ever. And so I really just, it was kind of bothering me. So I set my book down and I was like, Lord, I know what your word says, but should we move mountains? Right away, he responded to me, I guarantee that if you spoke to a mountain and told it to move and it moved, that mountain would never have moved apart from my will. And I sat back and I thought, okay, I could see that. I mean, the Bible points to God being sovereign, right? Even the enemy has to ask for permission. So nothing happens apart from his will. Nothing happens apart from his okay. And sometimes those are bad things, but he uses those things for his glory, okay? He doesn't want those things to take place, but he does allow certain things so that he can bring good out of them, okay? So I'm like, okay, Lord. And I'm thinking to myself, so sometimes, you see, I don't have a desire to move mountains. That's not the case, okay? But that context of scripture is actually about casting out demons if you read it, okay? And so they had brought this person to Jesus who had a demon, and the disciples had tried and tried and tried, but could not get the demon out of this person. And so this person was brought to Jesus, and Jesus was able to remove the demon. And so they were marveling at his work, and he was telling them, look, it was because of your unbelief. And they're like, oh, really? And he's like, well, also this kind doesn't come out except through prayer and fasting. Okay, so there was other reasons, not just faith. Okay, so moving on though, then Jesus starts to say, look, if I'm telling you the truth, if you even have faith the size of a mustard seed, you could tell the mountain to be moved and it would move, right? And so it's like, look, compare that to casting out a demon, okay? You can physically see a mountain moving, right? And so I wouldn't want to just like, tell a mountain to move and then be responsible for flooding the nation because the mountain was standing in the way of the ocean, and then I moved the mountain so the ocean flooded the nation, right? Okay, so, but God said to me, as I stated earlier, he said, look, nothing's going to happen apart from my will. You don't have to be concerned about that, okay? And so I'm thinking to myself, okay, I do have interest, though, in laying hands on people. I do have interest in making people well that are sick, raising the dead, whatever it is that he wants me to do, setting the captives free, that I do have interest in. Okay, moving mountains, not a big deal on my list of things that I desire to do, but I do want to be able to cast out demons. I do want to be able to do those things. And so I'm thinking, okay, so some of the time I'm going to command a demon to come out and I'm going to look like a fool because it wasn't your will. Or some of the time I'm going to lay hands on the sick and maybe they'll be healed, maybe they won't, because only when it's your will you're going to show up. And so I feel like just by knowing my thoughts, didn't even ask him, just thinking these things, he responded to me and he said, I guess you'll just need to be so in tune with me that you know what it is I'm saying, doing, and commanding. And right away I remembered a scripture, which is John 5 verse 19, which says that Jesus only did and said as the Father was doing, right? And Jesus did many signs and wonders and miracles, right? And fulfilled prophecy and so on. And so that's what God's saying to us is, to move mountains, it does take mustard seed faith, okay? And faith can go far. Faith can go farther than we can imagine. Faith goes farther than we can imagine, okay? But secondly, those miracles aren't going to take place. Those mountains are not going to move apart from his will. And so that's why we see that sometimes. That's why we see sometimes we lay hands on people and nothing happens. Sometimes we, and we're like, I did it in all faith. I had all faith, That's why nothing takes place apart from his will, okay? Even the enemy has to ask him for permission. So nothing takes place apart from his will. And thirdly, that we should be so in tune with him that we know what he is saying and doing and commanding always, and we won't ever have to worry about looking like a fool. He will say, go lay hands on that person, watch them be healed. Go, deliver that person from the demon. Go deliver, go and raise the dead. Go and, I don't know, give that person a prophetic word. Go, and do those things. But to be so in tune with him, knowing where he's working, seeing him, hearing him, being so in tune, abiding all the time, so that we can be doing just as Jesus did, which was only doing what he saw the Father do. All right, so I hope that blesses you the way it blessed me.